Attention bowlers, we are going to get started. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is. From Leda Lanes at Nashua, New Hampshire, this is the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. My name is Steve Kelly, and I will be your host, guide, friendly voice, and companion unobtrusive during this Class B North Divisional Leader duel between John Alosa and JJ Tourigny. Good as always to have you along with us. Originally live streamed on Saturday, January 6th, 2024, and available anytime afterwards. If you're new to the ACST or Candlepin bowling in general, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to you and hope you enjoy what you watch today. And if you are a returning viewer, welcome back, and your continued viewership is greatly appreciated as always. We are just going to get started here in just a minute or two, and our bowlers are just getting ready to step up to the plate. And this match should be a great one. Two divisional leaders today. John Alosa, the away bowler, challenging JJ Tourigny, the home bowler at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. We will start in just a few moments here. And we're going to start with John Alosa on lane 16 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. John Alosa coming all the way down from his home house at Boutwell's Bowling Center in Concord, New Hampshire. John Alosa's season record is 66-46 for the season. His season average is 111.2, the 12th highest in the ACST B class, as John Alosa scores a 10 box for his opening box here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. John Alosa's average variance is generally 5 among his matches thus far, between 106.0 and 111.4 as of January 2nd. He leads B North Division 1, and look at that 9.5 box by John Alosa. 9.5 because he knocked down 9, and that 5-pin took a little dance to the right. Didn't quite go. Should be an easy spare for John Alosa. He takes that 5-pin for the spare for an open 20-2 for Mr. Alosa. As I was saying, John Alosa leads the ACST B Class North Division 1 ahead of Jacob Morrill, Joe De Almeida, a.k.a. Moose, and Rob Brown as of January 2nd. His high single is 146 as he fills that spare with 5. High single for the season is 146, that is. His high series is 614. Both of these are accurate as of January 2nd. 23 strikes, 86 spares, and 97 tens as of January 2nd, not counting this match, of course. He already has +1 spare for the day so far. John Alosa looking at a gnarly 8 box for the third. He went to war for that one. 33-3 for Mr. Alosa. We'll blow the scores up to a larger size here in just a little bit, but they should be visible on screen at all times here. Alosa punching out the right side, half Worcester right side. The 2 and the 9 pins beset him. The half Worcester is a situation in Candlepin. I don't believe it's achievable in 10 pin, in which, oh boy, that too, where you punch out the right or the left side to the right of the left of the head pin, and it's where you miss the head pin, and it just gets ugly for you because you can throw the next ball right through the hole. As he punches out the left side, takes a 5 box, what appears to be. Confirmed as a 5 for 38-4 for Mr. Alosa. Introduce you to the big board here, which I will switch back and forth with to and from occasionally. John Alosa on lane 16 for his 5th box, the first half of the first game. We are bowling 5 games of Candlepin bowling today. Seasonal total pins for John Alosa, 4,446 as of January 2nd. Only 9 out of his 45 games have been under 100. John Alosa will finish his first half with an open 48, taking a spare in the 5th. Great way to end it. 2 marks in the first half. 48 open in 5 for John Alosa. As now JJ Tourigny will take lane 16 at Leda Lanes. JJ Tourigny, I had the opportunity to speak with him before the match began. He's our home bowler today. I had to confirm with him because I wasn't entirely sure how we pronounce his last name. I thought it was Tourigny for the longest time. It is Tourigny, confirmed. JJ opens up with a 6th drop, leaving the 4 horsemen left side. The 1, the 2, the 4, and the 7 pins. For Mr. J. Flying J. JJ, the Grand Tour, Tourigny. Look at that spare. 4 horsemen left side. Making the J's fly, JJ. For a spare in the first. Open 10 in 1 for Mr. Tourigny. His record for the season is 102-24. That is insane. That is accurate as of January 2nd. Season average is 103.7, the 4th best in B class as of January 2nd. JJ's spare fill is 7. Doesn't hit the head pin, but he gets a favorable drop. His high single is 150. His high series is 632. Just narrowly missing the spare. Narrowly missing the spare for Mr. Tourigny. Sorry, I had to just fix the camera there. Some vibrations kind of rattling it left and right. JJ will take a 10 box, which should be a 27 after 2 for Mr. Tourigny. This is a divisional leader duel between John Alosa and JJ Tourigny. Both bowlers overwhelmingly positive. John Alosa 66 and 46, JJ Tourigny 102 and 24 for the season. JJ throws a little bit too hard, punching out the center. That is the traditional spread eagle, the 4-drop version of the spread eagle. Very difficult shot. Depends on the kind of bowler you are to try to convert, as long as you don't punch through the middle again. For me personally, I can get these if I hit the left half of the spread eagle, but it depends on your handedness and the way in which you slide on the foot. JJ will salvage as much of that spread eagle as he can to take a 7 box. 34 in 3 for Mr. Tourigny here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. JJ Tourigny is the leader of the B North Division. B North Division 3 ahead of Dominic Palladino, Steve Kelly, that's me, and Paul Mativier in that order as of January 2nd. JJ hitting the pocket again, but not getting the eagle. He has a more favorable, nuanced pocket shot, perhaps throwing it a little less full, and leaving just 3 pins on the left side, the 4, the 7, and the 8. Might be a tricky spare, might be a little bit deceptive. Let's see what he can do, and he decides to forego the wood. Just take the 4, 7, 10 head on in the pocket for a 44 open and 4 for JJ Tourigny. Hey, I promised you a division leader duel, and we are getting it so far. Both bowlers, 2 marks for the first half of the first game. They are staying competitive with one another. 38-44 in the 4th. Your score updates. Appreciate you watching on Candlepin Bowling Network, the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour Facebook page, maybe YouTube later on if uploaded, or perhaps several years from now, who knows. Broadcast live on January 6, 2024, and available for viewing anytime on demand after the conclusion of the match. Recording or streaming, we're doing both. JJ Tourigny punches out the 6 pin, leaving the 7-10 for an 8, 9, or 10 box now. Just trying to take anything. He had a 7 fill on that spare for 51 and 4, and then takes a fouled 8 box in the 5th for 59 in 5. 59 and 5 for Mr. Tourigny here at the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. Now John Alosa will start to bowl on lane 15. His first time on lane 15. First time in this house in general. Or not his first time in his house, but one of his first times in this house. I should be more specific on that. John Alosa now starting out filling a spare on lane 15 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire on this Saturday morning. It's chilly right before a snowstorm that's going to hit. John Alosa will fill that spare with an 8-9. That's a good fill. It was a slow-moving, methodical 9 box on lane 15 in Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. John Alosa will take another spare to compound on top of that spare that he concluded the first half with. That puts him at an open 67 and 6. Divisional leader duel here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. John Alosa versus JJ Tourigny, your station identification and score update. John Alosa is currently at open 67 plus 6 for a match total so far of 73 to JJ's 59 at an uneven intervals. But at the half, John Alosa was at 57 and JJ Tourigny was at 59. Eddie takes another spare. That's his third mark in a row, third spare in a row, completing the diamond, putting him at an open 83 in 7 for Mr. Alosa. That is a 3-mark consecutive run. If this were the WCVB Channel 5 show, that would be bonus money right there. John Alosa on a fill, filling his third mark. John Alosa can be a very explosive bowler. Him being a divisional leader himself, he will fill that spare with 7, put him at 90 in 7. He leads B North Division 1 ahead of Jacob Morrill, Joe De Almeida Moose, and Rob Brown as of January 2nd. And that's another spare for John Alosa. I can't even keep up with how fast he's throwing these spares today. And I apparently can't keep up with the zoom cam, slightly tilting to the right. My apologies. I will catch that whenever I can. I'm standing right by it. John Alosa filling his 4th spare in a row with more than 5. It's going to be 6 plus, probably just 6. It's going to be 6. That's an open 106. Not an open closed 106 in 8 for John Alosa, filling his 4th mark in a row. Let's see if this can be 5. Is it going to be 5? It's a good shot at it. It was a good bid. Very good bid. Frustrating end to the spare saga for John Alosa. He has 5 spares on the first game so far. 106 and 9. 106 and 8. Can he make it 116? I think he can. 116 and 9 for John Alosa. He is on fire in the first game. Coming out of the gate, making a statement as a divisional leader, challenging another divisional leader in a duel. Very Yu-Gi-Oh-esque on this Saturday morning. John Alosa drops 5, hitting the pocket, but leaving an interesting spread of wood. I want to say that is the 2, the 6, no, 2, it's 5 pins. A little slow today on my pin identification. He leaves everything but the 2 pin on lane 15. Good attempt at trying to convert the spare for some bonus pins to try to get into the 130s, but it looks like he's going to conclude with a 126. He will conclude with a 126 in the first game. John Alosa, what a statement win. Or statement game, I mean. Not a statement win yet. We'll see. JJ is... If I know JJ, he will not take that laying down. John Alosa has a high single of 146 and a high series of 614. 126 got pretty close to that. JJ Tourigny, meanwhile, he has 35 strikes, 97 spares, and 81 tens as of January 2nd. His perfect box percentage is 53. JJ Tourigny's first ball is a bit of a misfire, throwing it a little bit too hard to the right, connecting with the 3-pin and a couple of friends. Taking out 4, leaving 6 on the deck. JJ hitting a little full on 1 pin, taking 1 more for the road. Fighting for a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 at this point. Seasonal total pins for JJ Tourigny is 5,117. JJ concludes the first box of the second half with a disappointing 7 box that he rather went to war for. Quite an interesting turn of events for JJ, who normally is very good on the marks and very good on the drops. But it is what it is. Seasonal total pins for JJ Tourigny is 5,117 as of January 2nd. JJ missing the pocket 1 more time. Rather unique for JJ. Doesn't always happen. JJ only has 9 out of 45 of his games under 100. That is a wow stat right there, Paul, right? JJ hunting for more pins. He's going to take all but the 9 pin in the back row. He will now go for the 10 box. He will take a 9 box. JJ at 75 and 7 now. JJ has 2 marks, and he's had a bit of a slight false start on the second half here, but several strikes and spares will definitely put him right back in it. JJ Tourigny so far this season hasn't bowled a series under 518 as of January 2nd. JJ just off the head pin a little bit, leaving the 4 horsemen right side plus the 8 pin. JJ has the stat for the 5th highest spares in the B class at 97 as of January 2nd. JJ connecting with the right side pocket, but doesn't get enough pin action to take the spare there. apologies. I have one slight score correction to make. He had a 7 in the 7th box. Just keeping up with the official scoreboard. He's at 82 and 8. Still doable if he can get some marks, but the gap is closing now. John Alosa with 126 after 1. JJ at 82 after 8. Needs a mark. Strike will be favorable. 8 drop. And a piece of wood is rolling out towards JJ into a gutter. We don't need to wait for anyone to come and clear it because it's in the gutter now. JJ drops 8. Working on a spare. Definitely needs it, and he doesn't get it. Casey McCool stepping up behind me saying hi. JJ Tourigny will take a 10 box. JJ will take a 10 box. And it looks like John Alosa will take the first game. And a bit of a rarity for JJ to not have a blockbuster first game, but this is only the first of 5 games, so we will see how things go. He holds the 5th highest series in the entire ACST. The 5th highest strikes in all of the ACST as of January 2nd. JJ drops 7 in his first. Takes one more for the road, leaving what appears to be the 4 and the 6 pins on lane 15. I am standing at an angle, so if those pins are wrong, please feel free to yell at me in the comments. JJ will foul that out for a 9 box in the 10th, putting him at 101. So your score update, John Alosa is at 126 after 1, while JJ Tourigny sits at 101 after 1. At the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, Class B North Divisional Leader duel between John Alosa, our away bowler, challenging JJ Tourigny, our home bowler, on January 6, 2024 at Leda Lanes. John Alosa took the first game by 25 and holds the match lead by 25 as well. But we're going to start the second game now. Plenty of bowling here to go, folks, today. John Alosa going to start out on lane 16. JJ is going to take a brief break. If you're just tuning in, this is the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, a season-long series of one-on-one Candlepin bowling matches between challengers organized into classes and divisions, competing for playoff contention. Thank you for checking out this Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour match between challenger John Alosa versus JJ Tourigny, the home bowler, at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. John Alosa chopping wood on lane 16. 7 down, 3 up. Snoop Dogg reference in there somewhere. John will take an 8 box for the first box of the second game here at the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. Going to pause real briefly just so I can adjust the zoom cam. Give me one moment. There we go. It should be a little bit better. My apologies if the zoom cam is cutting off a bit of an angle of one of the 2 lanes. We are doing the best we can with some of these camera angles today. Don't have the best mounting mechanisms at the moment, but we're doing with what we can here. John Alosa took a 7 box in the second and just dropped 7 for the first ball of his 3rd box. John Alosa coming off of a 126 first game with 5 marks in the first game. He is dealing with the 7, 9, and 10 pins on lane 16 in Nashua, New Hampshire. At Leda Lanes, John Alosa will leave the 7 and the 10 pins for an 8 box. For 23 in 3 here at the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. Plenty of bowling here to go, folks. We are not even at the halfway point. We are just starting out the second game. John Alosa completing 3 frames, 23 after 3. JJ Tourigny has just walked back over. He is going to be on deck to bowl next after John Alosa concludes. John Alosa with A 9-drop, favorable 9-drop with wood, leaving only the 10-pin with a piece of wood perpendicular to it, and he will perfectly play that wood to take a spare in the 4th. Open 33 and 4 for John Alosa now. John Alosa's high single is 146. His high series is 614. He has 23 strikes, 86 spares, and 97 tens. And look at that, he fills that spare with a strike. John Alosa on fire at Leda Lanes today as the away bowler. He gets a strike. Open 53 to conclude his half. Strike on spare. Sounds a lot like, very similar to JJ's games normally here at Leda Lanes, and also very similar to John Alosa's first game. And we're just going to pause here to clear a piece of wood, which is fine. In case you're just tuning in, thank you for checking out this Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour match between away bowler John Alosa versus home bowler JJ Tourigny at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Both of these bowlers are divisional leaders, so this is a big, big climactic duel between these two bowlers. They've both been pumped for it. This match already got rescheduled once, and both bowlers are just excited to bowl each other in anticipation. Sometimes delay creates anticipation. JJ's opening ball the second game on lane 16 is a 4-drop. JJ chops some more wood, shaves a few more pins off, leaving the 5 and the 7 pins on lane 16. He's got some work to do. And he will take a 9 box. Did the best he could with that one on the 5-7 split. Opening 9 for JJ Tourigny. Just 1 box thrown. John Alosa sitting at 53 and 5 open, so JJ has his work cut out for him. Here's your score update. After 2 games, JJ Tourigny is at 110. John Alosa is at 179. JJ Tourigny with a beautiful first ball. Takes out everything but the 5 and the 8 pins. That 5 pin seems to be elusive for both bowlers today. No wood, 5-8. Spare opportunity for JJ. He takes the 8 pin, leaves the 5 pin, staring him down on lane 16. I know this shot way too well at Leda Lanes when you're just staring down with the middle finger of the 5 pin. JJ will take that 5 pin out for a 10 box in the second. 19 after 2 for JJ Tourigny. He is number 1 in total strikes in the B class at 35 as of January 2nd. He has the 5th most strikes in the entire ACST at 35. JJ Tourigny, lane 16. Is that going to be another strike? Oh, look at that. Another 9-drop, leaving only the 5 pin. Welcome to Leda Lanes. This time with wood, though. JJ usually doesn't have a problem hitting a 5-pin single. And he does have wood. Looks like he's going to get it. That is a spare for JJ, his first mark of the second game in the third. Open 29 and 3 for Mr. Tourigny. That is Tourigny, not Tourigny. JJ, the Grand Tour Tourigny. Almost caught myself saying it wrong after intentionally saying it wrong. He's at 102 and 24 for the season. He just cannot be caught in the B-Class North by anybody, quite frankly. I'm in his division, and both myself and Dominic Palladino, we have positive win-loss records, but we can't catch JJ, who very rarely missteps this season. 4 horsemen right side after 1 ball for JJ. Second ball doesn't quite aim it the way he needs to aim it, but he takes 2 of the 4 out. He filled the spare with 6 for 35 and 3. JJ will shave off the head pin for a 9 box in the 4th. 44 and 4, up by 1 in the game for JJ Tourigny. John Alosa still leads by 9 in an uneven point in the game, up by 34 in the match total, or in terms of total points at an uneven point. JJ Tourigny drops 8, leaving the 4 and the 7 pins on lane 16. Leda Lanes, Nashua, New Hampshire, Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, Class B North. Our 2 divisional leaders challenging each other today. JJ doesn't get that spare. He hits the wood a little bit too full and it helicopters directly back. JJ now doesn't get the Paul Grant special even. Doesn't get the 3-ball spare. He'll take an 8-box for a 52-5 closed versus John Alosa's open 53-5. John Alosa had a strike on spare when we last left him, and now he's back, and he has something to say to JJ at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Great to have you along with us, as always. Adjust that pin cam for you. Again, my apologies for the pin cam being slightly off center and a little crooked, just dealing with some camera mounting issues. Every bowling house does things a little bit differently. Leda Lanes is actually under active renovation, in which brand new, really comfy couch seating has been installed after about 25 years of the previous seating hanging around, and new score systems are also on the way. About half the house has been upgraded. We are bowling on the house that hasn't yet been upgraded. In terms of the score system, that is. The new seating is in place. As John Alosa will take a 7 fill and a 7 box to lead off the 6th frame of the second game. That puts him at 67 in 6 compared to JJ's closed 52. John Alosa, lane 15, Leda Lanes, 9 drop plus, 5 pin goes this time. He's left with just the 10 pin. JJ encourages John Alosa to go get it. John Alosa, good at spares, continues to be good at spares. That's a spare in the 7th. That's an open 77. In 7, 7, 7, 7 all around. Lucky for John Alosa, whose high series is 614 as of January 2nd. 23 strikes, 86 spares, and 97 tens as of January 2nd. Perfect box percentage of 52. John Alosa will fill that spare with 5. Rather awkward drop there. 82 in 7. That was a pretty shot. He just nicked the head pin and all the pins danced around, leaving only the 7 pin, and a piece of wood almost seemed like it was going to be dancing toward it. Confirmed he's at 82 in 7. Going for a 10 box now. He will get that 10 box. John Alosa with a 52% perfect box percentage. Definitely making a name for himself in terms of that today. Lots of marks so far. He's at 218 after 2 games so far. 92 and 8. John Alosa punches a little bit full. Left side, half Worcester, plus 1 additional pin. 7 up, 3 down on lane 15 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire for John Alosa. John Alosa now going for the spare. He almost gets it. He takes out everything, hitting the right side pocket, leaving everything but the 10 pin. Waiting for a piece of wood to clear, as is required by the ICBA before you throw a ball. John Alosa going for the 10 box. He just misses it slightly to the right in the gutter. He'll take a 9 box, though, for 101 and 9. Still over 100 for John Alosa, who only has 9 out of 45 games under 100 for the whole season. Seasonal total pins 4,446. John Alosa has the 5th most 10s in the B class at 90 as of January 2nd. He holds the 6th most strikes in the B class at 23 as of January 2nd. He holds the 10th high single in the B class at 146 as of January 2nd. Oh, is that going to be a spare? Wow, I thought he had a really difficult spare with really difficult split with no wood, and he hit the right side, and a piece of wood almost came back to take out the left side. John Alosa taking a 9 instead of a 10. That's going to be 110. 110 confirmed. After 2, for a 2-game total for John Alosa of 236. JJ Tourigny still has the second half of the second game to go. He's at 153 with a close 52. He's been trailing John Alosa today. JJ Tourigny on lane 15 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. JJ Tourigny's first ball is a miss on the pocket, but he still will manage to take 9. Missing the pocket to the right, but enough pins danced around and took out enough content to leave all but the 9 pin in the back row with some wood. He doesn't want to hit that wood, though. That's dangerous. JJ really good at hitting singles. He takes a spare in the 6th for an open 62 in 6. JJ looking to bounce back from a rather rocky first game against John Alosa. JJ had 101 in the first game. John Alosa had 126. John Alosa coming out swinging at Leda Lanes as the away bowler, challenging his counterpart divisional leader, JJ Tourigny. John Alosa himself also divisional leader. JJ Tourigny stands at 102 and 24 for the season. That might be the widest, one of the widest, if not the widest, win-loss ratio gaps in the entire ACST. As JJ racks up another spare, he's starting to cook. We're going to let JJ cook here. JJ the Grand Tour Tourigny continues his spare tear. Open 77 in 7 for Mr. Tourigny here at Leda Lanes in Nashua. He's catching up to John Alosa's 2-game total of 236. Let's see if he can keep that going. Oh, that's going to be somewhat helpful, but not quite helpful enough. He will take a 2 fill for the second spare. Half Worcester left side, and he almost punches out the left side half Worcester. The pins are still falling. What is going on? He nicked one pin, and that took out so many other pins. Welcome to Candlepin Bowling at Leda Lanes. JJ is beside himself staring at that, wondering why all those pins just fell. JJ salvages that half Worcester with a 10 box. That puts him at 89 in 8. 89 in 8 for JJ Tourigny versus John Alosa's 92 in 8 here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. ACST Class B North Divisional Leader fight between away bowler John Alosa and home bowler JJ Tourigny, as JJ Tourigny drops 5 on lane 15 for his opening ball of the 9th box. JJ Tourigny needs this spare. Throws a little bit too hard to the right. 2 left. He'll take a 9 box. He'll take a 9 box, putting him at 98 and 9. Might need a double strike to really catch up to John at this point. JJ rarely faltering like this. This is somewhat uncharacteristic of him. JJ hit the head pin on that, but he takes a spread eagle minus 1 additional pin. 5 down. JJ will take 1 more out. 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 here for JJ. John Alosa will take the second game. That's a 7 box for JJ for 105 in 10. John Alosa takes the second game by 5. And John Alosa will take the match by 30 as of the second game, but we still have plenty of Candlepin Bowling here to go, folks. We are not even at the halfway point. If you're just tuning in, it's a pleasure to have you along with us. If this is your first time watching, welcome to the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, Class B North, today at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire with John Alosa, our away bowler, challenging JJ Tourigny, our home bowler. On lanes 15 and 16 on this Saturday morning right before a snowstorm in Nashua, New Hampshire. John Alosa opening ball is a bit of a misfire off to the right. John Alosa will salvage that though with a spare. John Alosa is very good with spare conversions despite rough first balls. Recently, John Alosa faced Paul Mativier on December 30th at Boutwell's Bowling Center in Concord, his home house. He took 4 points to Paul's 10. John had a 5-game total of 556 compared to Paul's 581. Paul had a banner day that day, as John Alosa will fill that spare with 6. Alosa takes 1 more for the road. John had a 5-game total of 556 compared to Paul's 581 in his last match against Paul Mativier. Alosa bowled very well that match, but Paul managed to keep pace and then some. John's worst game was merely a 99 on the 3rd string. He took the 2nd and 5th games, averaged 111.2 for that match, right on par with a season average. Only 1 strike across 5 games, but had 15 spares. Do you notice a pattern? John Alosa has a lot of spares today, even against JJ. It's definitely his strong suit. Prior to that, he was bowling against Tony Levick at Academy Lanes, taking 12 points to Tony's 2. John Alosa throws a pitch through a hole. Doesn't get any more pins after the 4-pin drop in the first ball. John Alosa will conclude his third box with a 9. Honorable attempt by Mr. Alosa after having some rough initial leaves and breaks. John Alosa's first game against Tony Levick was his first and fifth, twin 134s. He averaged 110.8 for the season, or for the match that day. John Alosa punching out once again. He's throwing a little bit hard, a little bit too full on lane 16. He's good at getting spares. Ooh, but he seemed to make the same mistake, but on the left side that time. He's got 6 up and 4 down after 2 balls in the 4th box. Misses again. That's a 4 box for John Alosa. That's painful. Like he said, that hurts. Here's your score update in the 3rd game. John Alosa is just about to conclude the first half of the 3rd game, marking the halfway point for him. He's at a 3-game total of 273 thus far, plus 1 more box. Meanwhile, JJ, before he started the 3rd game, was at 206. 101, 105, respectively. John Alosa has had 126 and 110, respectively. Alosa, lane 16. That's a spare. 2 spares and a half for John Alosa, open 47. As he sits down and JJ stands up to start the first half of the 3rd game here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. JJ Tourigny has the 3rd high single in the B class at 160. As of January 2nd, he has the 4th high series in the B class, 632 as of January 2nd. Recently, JJ bowled on Saturday, December 30th against Jake Morrill at Boutwell's Bowling Center. JJ took 10 points against Jake, 596 to 565 as JJ opening ball drops 9, leaving the 2-pin on the deck on lane 16. JJ's 2nd game was an unusual 89, but all of the others were well over 100. That is, when he bowled on December 30th against Jake Morrill. With his 4th game being the best at 145. JJ misses that single twice to take a 9 box. 9 drop, 9 box for JJ Tourigny. Prior to that, JJ faced Rob Brown, emerging victorious with his newest season-high series of 632, taking 12 points. His best game was his 5th, with a 148 to close things out, and his 3rd game was a 150, which was a rally from a disappointing 97 in his 2nd game as JJ throws a little bit too full, punches out left side half Worcester. Against Rob Brown, JJ nabbed 2 strikes and 16 spares. Candlepin is a game of spares. John Alosa is definitely a testament to that. JJ appears to be missing a ball as he remarks to Nick Susi, son of Matt Susi at Leda Lanes. Both work here and do a great job keeping Leda Lanes smooth to bowl at, technological, and up to date. We have some renovations at Leda Lanes that are ongoing. We have brand new Cubica AMF score systems going in to replace the outgoing Pro Score automatic score systems. JJ's still struggling. He'll take an 8 box in this 8 box in the 2nd frame, excuse me, for 17 and 2. At the same point in the game, John had 24 and 2. JJ Tourigny, lane 26, lane 16 that is. JJ Tourigny, lane 16, having trouble with some shots in which they are hitting a little bit too full and also missing the head pin. But look at that, that was a good way to end it, or attempt to end it, that is. Hit the 1-3 pocket where the 3-pin was missing, takes out everything but the 9-pin. Going for a 10 box, JJ will take that 10 box for 27 in 3. whereas John Alosa was at 33-3 at the same point in the game. John Alosa sitting on 283 plus a ball after 2.5 games. JJ Tourigny, 2 boxes to go, but he's at 233. Tourigny, lane 16, drops 5, leaving... Paul Grant, if you're watching, is this the Canadian hay bale? Or something to that effect? Very interesting name for a shot that I only very recently became aware of. I might have named it wrong, but hey, light me up in the comments if you think that's wrong. JJ Tourigny misses the spare, and he's left with 2 pins. He's going to take a 9-box in his 4th for 36-4. 1 box to go for JJ Tourigny. He could really use a mark to stay on pace with John Alosa for the game at the very least. John Alosa at an open 47 after 5. JJ Tourigny is at a closed 36 after 4. JJ Tourigny normally very good with strikes and spares. He's having some trouble today. John Alosa has been an excellent away bowler today and keeping things very hot and competitive. So JJ Tourigny on lane 16 will drop 4 in his first, and he will get that mark that he's been fishing for and going to war for. Concluding the fifth box, that is, at an open 46. And John Alosa is at an open 47, both bowlers on marks in the 5th box. Your score update, JJ Tourigny is at 252, 2.5 game total, versus John Alosa's 283, 2.5 game total. Both bowlers have 1 additional ball to throw. John Alosa now, lane 15. That fill will be 6. That fill will be 6. He's at 53-5. Mr. Alosa. Take 3 more for the road. One to go for the 10 box. John Alosa will get that 10 box in the 6th for 63-6. John Alosa is from Concord, New Hampshire. His home bowling center is Boutwell's Bowling Center in Concord, New Hampshire. He works in the field of healthcare. He's a capability manager at Optum. He went to UNH. He's a former Wildcat just like myself. Married to Heather Alosa since 2011. He's quite the family guy, super into all things Disney parks. His son turned 3 on December 16th, 2023. His oldest son, Andrew, started 2nd grade on September 5th, 2023. John Alosa punches directly out 2-pin spread eagle on lane 15 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, and he takes out the 3-pin for his 2nd ball. Audience members remark, "Don't hurt it, John." And he certainly didn't. Takes out 1 more. That's an ugly 4-box for John Alosa. For 67-7. 67-7 for John Alosa. Might be opening up the door for JJ Tourigny to stage a comeback here. Both bowlers are divisional leaders. They've been very excited to bowl each other. This match was originally scheduled a couple of weeks ago, but we had to reschedule for a couple of factors outside of everyone's control. John Alosa dropped 6 in the first, 1 in the second, 3 to go, 7, 8, 9, or 10. He will take that 10 for 77-8 for Mr. Jonathan Alosa. Pause for station identification. Here's your score update. John Alosa, 2 boxes to go, but after 2.8 games, he's at 313. JJ Tourigny, after 2.5 games, is at an open 252 plus 1 more ball, potentially for 262. John Alosa took a 126 in the first game. JJ Tourigny took a 101 in the first game. John Alosa took a 110 in the second game. JJ Tourigny took a 105 in the second game. John Alosa right in the pocket. That's a strike for John Alosa. Perfect kind of shot for Leda Lanes, in which you don't want to throw it too hard, but you don't want to throw it too soft. Got to hit a pocket just the right way. We're waiting for the pin setter to reload. because he was so eager to throw that strike. The pins weren't quite ready for John Alosa to knock him down. He sits at an open 87 in 9 plus 2 balls. Another strike will compound that total. Everybody involved here, from the bowlers to the staff you cannot see, all appreciate your viewership and interest in this live stream, as well as Candlepin Bowling as a whole. Here at the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, a season-long series of one-on-one Candlepin bowling matches between challengers organized into classes and divisions, competing for playoff contention. It's John Alosa will take a spare on that strike. My apologies, I was doing station identification over a mark. Shouldn't be doing that. John Alosa sits at an open 107 after 10. One more ball to conclude his third game, and it's going to be 5 plus maybe another. Nope, just 5. It's going to be 112 for Mr. Alosa to conclude the third game. John Alosa's 3-game total is 348. Game 1, 126. Game 2, 110. Game 3, 112. JJ has his work cut out for him. JJ, normally very comfortable in taking games and matches, is having some trouble today against John Alosa. But if I know JJ, he'll bounce back. JJ is very difficult to beat. Taking him down is definitely an achievement. If John Alosa can manage that, definitely can put that up on the fridge for a hard-fought win. But nothing is set in stone yet. JJ Tourigny filling a spare now in lane 15. It's going to be more than 5. It's going to be 6. For 52 and 5 for Mr. Tourigny. 2.5 game total at 258. JJ so far has not taken any points this match. A rarity for JJ. Takes 2 more for the road. 8, 9, or 10 in the 6 box for JJ Tourigny pending this ball. That's going to be an 8 box for JJ Tourigny. 60 and 6. 60 and 6 for Mr. Tourigny versus John Alosa 63 and 6 at the same point in the game. Neither bowler had a mark at this point. If you live in the area and are willing to make the pilgrimage, the Candlepin Bowling community would absolutely appreciate your interest and visitation. Check out candlepin.org and click Go Bowling to find your nearest center if you would like to give this unique regional sport a try. And that's also if you live outside the region and you're in New England for whatever reason. I implore you, give it a try. It's more fun than 10-pin. Can personally confirm that after bowling Candlepin for 30 plus years. Not biased or anything. JJ takes a spare in the 7th for an open 70 in 7. This might be JJ's big moment. He has passed John Alosa at the same point in the game. He's now going to fill that spare. Let's watch. Hits a little bit too hard on the head pin. 4-pin spread eagle. 74 in 7 for Mr. Tourigny. Lane 15, Leda Lanes, Nashua, New Hampshire. That ball sails right through the middle where the pins used to be. Frustrating day for JJ Tourigny. That's going to be a 5 box for JJ. 79 and 8. Still up by 2 at the same point in the game where John Alosa was. But he's going to need some fireworks for the 9th and the 10th box because remember, John Alosa had a strike and then a spare on strike. So he had plenty of bonus pins during this small window of points. JJ's opening ball leaves the 7, nope, the 8 and the 10 pins on lane 15 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Plenty of wood buttressing the 8 pin on the left side. JJ Tourigny, lane 15, going for the spare. Takes the 10 pin, but not the 8 pin. That was not the impact I was expecting, but that piece of wood perpendicular to the 8 pin was a little bit out too far forward, and I would say that was probably what did him in there. He'll take the 10 box for an 89 and 9. Might be a sigh of relief there from John Alosa. 89 and 9 for JJ Tourigny versus 97 and 9 for John Alosa. JJ has to somehow get to 112, and I think the only way he can really do it at this point is a multi-mark streak. Tourigny, lane 15, right on the head pin. Is it going to be a strike? Did he listen to me? Come on, give it to him. 9.5 for JJ Tourigny, but we have to round down, so that's only a 9 drop. It looks like John Alosa will take the third game here. Potential for a spare here. He gets that spare for 99 open for JJ, but he can only get to 109 at this point. So John Alosa will take 3 consecutive games. Tough day for JJ Tourigny here. Trying to bounce back as hard as he can. He's just going to be filling that spare with more than 5. It's going to be 7. It's going to be a 106 for JJ Tourigny. His highest game of the day so far. Somewhat rare for JJ to not quite... Somewhat rare for JJ to not quite have the fireworks packed today. John Alosa seems to be carrying the torch there. So your 3-game score update, John Alosa has 348 after 3. JJ Tourigny has 312 after 3. John Alosa 126, 110, 112. JJ Tourigny 101, 105, 106. As we now motion to start the 4th game here at the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour between 2 divisional leaders. If you're just tuning in, this is the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, abbreviated as the ACST, a season-long series of one-on-one Candlepin bowling matches between challengers organized into classes and divisions competing for playoff contention. It is the NFL of the Candlepin bowling world. John Alosa drops 8. Sorry about that. Had to just move the camera. John Alosa drops 8, leaving the 2-pin only on the deck on lane 16. Alosa now for the 10 box. He will take a 9 box to start off the 4th game. Everybody involved here, from the bowlers to the staff, you cannot see all around me. I'll appreciate your viewership and interest in this live stream, as well as Candlepin bowling as a whole. Today we are at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. John Alosa dropping 7, 5-7-10 split. This is known as the Matt Susi special, the Woolworth split. The setback on both sides, whatever you want to call it, but there is favorable wood. Red line that right side wood, and he's got it. He's good at spares, John Alosa, but didn't quite red line the right side wood. Takes only the 10 pin, leaving the 5 and the 7. This is the left side setback shot now. Alosa, lane 16. We'll take an 8 box. Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire opened in 1959, roughly 64 years ago, the same year as Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire. Leda Lanes is a family-owned and operated Candlepin bowling center located in Nashua, New Hampshire. Founded by the late Edgar and Ray Simino, passed down through Sean Howard, Linda Howard, and Alexis Booley, along with Dave Simino, Matt Susi, Joe Booley, and countless other hard-working folks. They maintain a busy center with tons of leagues, cornhole, birthday party options, and oh, did I mention there's a whole other second bowling alley here? Oh yeah, Leda's Lighthouse, located across the parking lot, is the second facility, second location, second building, specifically tailored towards globe bowling and birthday parties. Having worked there on the day it opened, I can vouch for the awesome effects, music, and atmosphere you'll encounter when you're walking in there. I remember when I was working there, there was a guy who walked in randomly at night, and he asked, "Is this place a disco?" He was looking for a disco, and I told him, "Hey man, it's 2009. I don't know if there's any discos left in Nashua, but this might be the closest place if you want a glow bowl at Leda's Lighthouse." Leda Lanes' main building, that's where we're streaming out of, features all wood approaches with all wood lanes, along with sensor-based automatic scoring. Scoring software that is currently being removed is known as ProScore version 25. It's being replaced by Cubica AMF automatic scoring systems. The side of the house we're streaming on today hasn't yet implemented that system, but it is coming soon, as John Alosa will take a 10 box for 36 in 4. Your score update. He has 1 box remaining in the 4th game. He is at a 4.49 game total of 384 so far versus JJ Tourigny's 3-game total of 312. John Alosa on the head pin, lane 16, Leda Lanes, Nashua, New Hampshire. That is... He appears to be left with the right side Canadian hay bale or something to that effect. Takes 2 more out. 4 horsemen right side minus the head pin now. 3 up, 7 down. Lane 16 for John Alosa. John Alosa will take a 9-box to sit on a markless 45 in the 4th game. John Alosa might be having a bit of a lull game, and that is often an opportunity for ACST bowlers to catch up on the total and possibly get some additional points for the total, which is not insignificant. It's 4 points. You get 2 points for every game, but you get 4 points for total for a 14-point sweep possibility. So far, John Alosa has taken everything from JJ, but there's still 2 games and the total, so maybe JJ can make this up. JJ, after a long break, has come back on lane 16, trying to make up for some lost ground here. Today we are on lanes. There's a spare for JJ Tourigny. Start out the 4th game. Definitely needed that one. Statement spare for the 4th game for JJ Tourigny. So, if you have seen previous streams at Leda Lanes, you may have noticed that the lanes we're on today are rather different than where we normally are. We're on lanes 15 and 16, and that's because there's a junior league bowling on the opposite side. There's also renovations going on the other side. But Saturday morning at Leda Lanes, it's a lot of junior leagues as well as regular leagues going on. Seems to be one full side of the house with 18 lanes with both open bowling and league bowling, and there's another league starting out between lanes 1 and 10 as JJ fills that spare with 8 and gets another spare. Your score update, JJ is at an open 28 after 2. At Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, compare that to John Alosa's 17 after 2 with no marks. JJ has 2 spares in a row right now. Let's see what he can do for this 3rd one. Hopefully it's not a punch-out or anything of the sort. That's going to be more than 5 for the fill on that 2nd spare for JJ. 6 fill. Puts him at 34 after 2. 3rd spare, maybe? Not quite. Misses the pocket just a little bit to the right, leaving the 1 and the 10 pins on the deck. Mr. Tourigny will take an 8-box in the 3rd for 42 and 3. Off to a good start. A couple more marks will definitely get him into remedial mode, or on the path to remediation, after a somewhat disappointing 3 games for JJ so far. Generally kind of under average for the day. JJ's home lanes are here. Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. JJ tends to have 3 or 4 really high-powered strings per match, with only 1 or 2 weirdly low-scoring outlier games, but today seems to be a bit of an outlier today as a whole. It's funny when you do some analysis and then what happens live completely blows that analysis away. JJ will take another spare. Rather pretty 10-pin shot with wood. That piece of wood doing a little dance for us. After 4 boxes, JJ is at 52 plus a ball. 4.49 game total of 364 versus John Alosa at a 4.5 game total of 393. JJ filling a spare now. Punches directly out 4 fill traditional spread eagle, the 4-pin spread eagle. JJ went to Santa Rosa Junior College and Manchester School of Technology. JJ takes 1 more pin for the road. JJ was in the U.S. Army and California National Guard. Thank you for your service, JJ. He's married to Raylan Tourigny. His son's name is Raymond. And I didn't get a chance to ask him about this, but it seems JJ might be somewhat new to Candlepin. I thought I heard him say once he's only bowled since about 2018. Might need confirmation on that, but I thought I heard that, so that's really impressive for JJ. John Alosa now, starting out on lane 15 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. John Alosa drops 7 for his opening ball of the 2nd half. Alosa for the spare. He's good at spares. Look at that shot. Wow, the 6-10-7 split And he gets it by just hitting the wood the right way. That's an open 55 and 6 for John Alosa now. Lane 15, Leda lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Alosa's strength is definitely in spares, as we have observed today. Alosa filling a spare now, right on the head pin, leaving the diamond right side. That's a 6 fill. For 61 and 6 for John Alosa. If you're just tuning in, this is the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour Class B North. We have 2 divisional leaders today. John Alosa, our away bowler, against JJ Tourigny, our home bowler, at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, for 5 strings of Candlepin bowling. The winner of each game takes 2 points. The winner of the match, in terms of total, takes 4 points for a possible 14 points to be distributed. John Alosa will take a 9-box for 70 in 7. We appreciate having you along. If this is your first time watching such a match, if this is your first time watching Candlepin bowling, this is a good match to tune into. These are 2 really high-averaging, high-powered bowlers. See a lot of marks, strikes, and spares today. If you're interested in Candlepin bowling, I implore you to check out your local bowling center if you live in the region, New England, United States, or Canada, sort of the eastern half of Canada. John Alosa took another spare. He's on an open 80 and 8. And hey, if you're outside the region, make the trek to New England and check out your local bowling center. Go to candlepin.org and click Go Bowling. John Alosa fills that spare with 6. We're bowling out of Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire today. ICBA Commissioner Alexis Woolley head honchoing this place. John Alosa, wow, taking yet another spare. Flying the spare plane, piloting the spare plane. Open 96. Current status of the spare plane for John Alosa. His strength is definitely in spares. Fills that spare with 5 for a Canadian hay bale. Left side. John Alosa now for lane 15 for another spare, not quite. Leaving the 4 and the 7 pins. Over 100 game, 109 plus 2 more potentially. Could be 111. It's going to be 111. That's a 10-box for John Alosa. For 111 to conclude his 4th game and 4-game total of 459. John Alosa having a banner day here at Leda Lanes, challenging JJ Tourigny. Both are divisional leaders. JJ notorious for being difficult to be caught in terms of wins and losses, but John Alosa has been definitely putting up an impressive day so far. JJ Tourigny, lane 15. Not on a mark. Drops 6 thus far in lane 15 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Canadian hay bale minus the 9 pin in the back row. JJ, that's a spare. That's a definitive spare. Hitting the object pin precisely where he needed. And that's something he definitely needs right now. 74 open in 6 for Mr. Tourigny. That isn't Tourigny, it's Tourigny. I was putting a bit too much of an Italian spin on his last name in a previous broadcast, or just in my head. But I confirm with JJ, it is pronounced Tourigny. Paul Grant, you got it right. Thank you. 7 drop, 7 fill for JJ, leaving the 1, the 3, and the 9 pins on the deck, I believe, if that is to be believed. Based on my visual account, it looks like we might have a scoring issue. The sensor didn't quite go off as planned. He hits the head pin, but doesn't take anything else. The automatic score system at Leda is experiencing a glitch right now, but mine is going to be correct. So he should have a 91 in 7. And we are going to pause real quick for a score correction. Pro Score Plus, this is one of the foibles with Pro Score Plus, in which sometimes the sensor may not pick up a ball and then might kind of throw everything off by just a little bit. So your score update, JJ has 91 in 7. In the 4th game. 3.7 game total of 403. John Alosa, 4-game total of 459. JJ has his work cut out for him. He has potential to take the 4th game. and you can contribute towards the total, the all-important 4 points. The 5th game is often very tension-filled in terms of total, especially if a bowler is down. There's a bit of an interesting conversation going on between JJ and Lexi. Lexi literally on the microphone in here trying to negotiate a score correction. That was kind of funny. Anyways, if you're just tuning in or you're just wondering what the heck is going on, this is the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, a season-long series of one-on-one Candlepin bowling matches between challengers organized into classes and divisions competing for playoff contention. And each matchup is against 2 bowlers. It's a scratch match, which means there are no handicaps or other assistive point value modifiers other than what we see in the live matches. We are just paused here for a moment as we're still waiting on a score correction to be completed from the front desk. There is a maximum of 14 available points per match. 2 points are awarded to the winner of each game. The bowler whose cumulative total is the highest results in an additional 4 points awarded. A tie and a string will award each bowler 1 point. The B class of the ACST in particular, which is that of which both of our bowlers are members of. They're divisional leaders, by the way. The B class has a north and a south half with 4 divisions between the 2 of them. Each class presently has roughly 32 bowlers with 16 in north and 16 in south. And this is also true for almost all of the other classes A, B, C, and D as well. There are occasionally a few openings if you want to join mid-season, but otherwise you kind of have to wait till about the end of the summer, so if you're interested, check out the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour page or the Candlepin chat page on Facebook. And check out and hit up Danny Finn if you're interested in joining the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour for the next season. JJ will take a spare in the 8th. Nope, sorry, a 10. Missed a ball there. 101 and 8 for JJ Tourigny. In the 8th, he has 101 versus John Alosa's 86. JJ has finally overtaken John for at least one game, or one portion of one game at least. JJ has dropped 5. JJ takes one more for the road, doesn't get the spare. This might be another situation where JJ really needs streaks of marks to catch up to John, because John is really good at compressing marks, especially towards the end of a game. But this is not that scenario as it was in the previous game. JJ has 111 and 9, tied with John's definitive 111 for the 4th game. JJ will be going home with at least some points today. It would be nice if he can get a streak of strikes here to try to catch up on the total. That's kind of key for JJ right now, and wow. Headpin shot, spread eagle, but gets some favorable wood drop. Wood spread, would leave. Taking out about 6 total. Yep, 6 pins total. JJ analyzing how he's going to take this out. He thinks he's going to play the wood. JJ on the wood. Sometimes the wood giveth, sometimes the wood taketh away. And this point, in this case, I mean, the wood taketh away. JJ will take 8, 9, or 10. He's going to be 10 for 121 in the 4th game. JJ takes the 4th game by 10. 4-game total for JJ Tourigny of 433. 4-game total for John Alosa is 459. Total is still up for grabs. The total is only within 26 pins of one another. John Alosa had 126, 110, and 112 before his 111 4th game. JJ Tourigny had 101, 105, 106, and 121 for the 4th game. As of the 4th game, that is. But we're going to soldier on here very quickly to the 5th and final game here at Leda Lanes today. We appreciate having you along as always. Or if you're brand new, hey, welcome to Candlepin Bowling, and we hope you stick around and hope you find this as super exciting. I don't have the chat open. I'm not very oriented towards looking at a chat while streaming, but if you're in the chat and you're saying things to me, I will check them out afterwards. I will reply to you if you have any questions or anything of the sort. John Alosa will not take the spare on that first box. That was actually a foul. A foul happens when you throw a ball in the gutter and it pops out and takes pins out. That is an invalid shot at that point. There's also other scenarios for fouls, like if you lob the ball past the lob line or your foot goes over the foul line. If you've ever seen The Big Lebowski, you know what I'm talking about in terms of over the line for the foul. But in Candlepin bowling, especially in the past, goodness, I want to say 10 or so years, there's been some discourse and some changes to some of these rules, either officially or unofficially. The foul and lob line rules are not always fully enforced, depending on where you go. As to whether or not you agree with that, that's sort of above my pay grade. Might be up to the ICBA, or sometimes depends on the house or the judges involved in tournaments or whatnot. For a lot of houses, it has to do with the sensors and the laseriness of the foul line for feet crossing the line in particular. Sometimes it goes off erroneously. Before they turned it off at Leda Lanes, I know it was kind of going off almost at random, and it got to a point where it was more of a nuisance than actually assistive in terms of detecting fouls. So now it's more of an honor system. That can be difficult to keep up, but hey, it is what it is. John Alosa will take an 8 in the third for a markless 26 after 3. This is the 5th and final game of this Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour Divisional Leader duel between John Alosa and JJ Tourigny. John Alosa, the family man, the Disney man, drops 6 on lane 16. Missing the pocket, missing the head pin, leaving the 1, the 2, the 9, and the 10 pins on lane 16. Takes 1 more out for the road, taking the 9 pin out for the road, the 1, the 2, and the 10 pins for John Alosa. Alosa, lane 16, will take a 7 box. For a 4 box total of 33 in the 5th game. A 4.4 game total of 492 for John Alosa, compared to JJ Tourigny's 4 game total of 433. Your score update. John Alosa, lane 16. Very similar shot, missing the pocket to the right. John Alosa normally very good with the spares, but as of the past 2 games, he's been cooling off on that just a little bit. John will miss the spare once again, it seems. And for the 10 box, he's going to take an 8, sitting on a rather quiet 41 after 5 in the 5th game for John Alosa. Now JJ Tourigny, let's see if he can maintain his march towards the total. He has potential to take 4 points for the total, 2 points for the match, to add on top of the additional 2 points he took in the previous game. So JJ still has the opportunity to take plenty of points. He just has to really be on point for this 5th game. JJ normally very, very, very good at taking points and has a high-powered streak of marks, strikes, and spares. He has 35 strikes, 97 spares, and 61 tens as of January 2nd. Thank you to Micah for those stats that he regularly posts on the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour and Candlepin chat pages on Facebook that I regularly steal from for these broadcasts. JJ Tourigny takes the single on the 3rd for a 10 box. JJ having some trouble today in terms of converting marks. So far this season, JJ has not bowled a series below 518. But I don't want to speak too soon about that. JJ hits a little bit too full right down the center. A 3-pin spread eagle. Takes out the 1, the 5, and the 9 pins, leaving everything else. JJ takes out 2 more, and he's definitely thinking he's seeing ghosts. Some Sam Darnold-esque activity going on today for JJ. And he's going to take a 9 box in the 2nd. He's relieved at least it wasn't on a spare. But regardless, if he had a spare prior, it would have been a fill, so, you know. One of those things, I guess. JJ sits at closed 19 after 2, while John Alosa had a closed 18 after 2. Tourigny, lane 16, Leda Lanes, Nashua, New Hampshire, misses the pocket again to the left. Well, not again to the left, but just misses the pocket again. This time to the left. The 1, the 3, the 7, the 8, and the 10 pins are on lane 16 for JJ Tourigny. JJ, lane 16. Will he get the spare? That was a pretty spare. That was a lucky spare, but it was still a spare. Welcome to Candlepin Bowling. He hit the pin right on the pocket. He hit the head pin, the 1 and the 3 pins, and he nicked a piece of wood that rolled right over to the 7 pin, which wouldn't have gone normally, but the piece of wood took it out. Always appreciated in any capacity. JJ sits an open 29 after 3. Filling that spare now. Tourigny. More than 5. Will it be 7? Will it be 8? Can I get a 9? Can I get a 9? That's a 7-10 with woods. Favorable 7-10 split. Fill on the spare with 8. That can definitely go. Watch this pinball action here in the full screen. Check this out. He gets it. JJ Tourigny's second mark in a row. JJ taking a sigh of relief as he takes an open 47 and 4 in the 5th game here. This game is critical for JJ, and this is a pivot point in the match as to whether JJ will take 2 points or if he will take a heck of a lot more than 2 points. Let's find out. JJ filling a spare in the 4th. 5 plus 6. It's going to be 6. Leaving the 4 horsemen left side. 53 and 4 for JJ Tourigny. JJ Tourigny's high single is 150. His high series is 632. The 5th highest spares in the B class at 97. Not counting these games. JJ takes 1 more for the road. He doesn't get that 3rd spare in a row. 4 horsemen left side minus the 2 pin. Hits full on the head pin for an 8 box in the 5th. 61 in 5 for JJ. I think that's his highest half of the day so far. JJ really struggling today for one reason or another. I assure you, JJ normally bowls much better than this on many other days. He is very difficult to catch up to. I would know because I'm trying to chase him in my own division. I'm behind Dominic Palladino and JJ Tourigny, so while he may have a tough day today, it's definitely not representative of his greater skill and ability. So, happens all the time for every bowler. Everyone has a bad day now and again. John Alosa now starting out on lane 15, wasn't filling any mark. He dropped 5 on his first with the 4 horsemen left side plus the 9 pin. Takes out the 4 horsemen but leaves the 9 pin. John Alosa on the 6th frame will take 9. 50 in 6 for John Alosa. A 4.6 game total of 509 for John Alosa versus JJ Tourigny's 4.5 game total of 494. The walls are closing in terms of the gap for the total for the all-important 4 points. John Alosa almost getting a strike. An elegant, lighter thrown first ball, hitting the pocket, and the pins dance around, taking everything but the 8 pin in the back row on lane 15. Leda lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. John Alosa now for the spare. Single pin spare. He's going to get that single pin spare. Often the bane of a lot of bowlers' existence. Single pin spares. He has an open 60 in 7. John Alosa, that's his first mark of the game. He's had a bit of a quiet 5th game. He's normally captain chief pilot of the spare plane, if his stats have anything to say about it, and if any earlier games have anything to say about it. He has 23 strikes, 86 spares, and 97 tens for the season. But he's also a captain of the 10 plane, more so than the spare plane, actually. But hey, it is what it is. Alosa will be filling a spare here just momentarily, waiting for a pin clear, a re-rack. Open 7 box. Hitting the head pin, 9 drop. It will be a 9.5 drop. 9.5 drop, got a round down 69 in 7 for John Alosa, filling that spare with 9. And then some. He sits at 78 plus a ball. And that extra ball, if he takes 1 more pin, that will be another spare. Will it be? It will be. Just barely stayed on, confirmed by JJ Tourigny. That's a 79 open in 8. For John Alosa. John Alosa finally waking up in the second half of the 5th game here. 2 marks in a row after a markless first half. 2 marks in a row after a markless first half. John Alosa filling out spare with, Forgot to switch off the camera angle. He fills that spare with 7. If you're just joining us, well, we are just about to finish up the 5th and final game after a few more boxes here. But if you need to go back and rewatch all of this, this will be available shortly on Candlepin Bowling Network, the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour page, maybe YouTube later, I don't know. John Alosa taking a 10 box for 96 and 9. And we appreciate you watching from wherever you are watching, however you are watching. It's been a pleasure delivering this content to you for Candlepin Bowling. I've been Steve Kelly. I've been your host and guide for this particular match between 2 divisional leaders in the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour Class B North. John Alosa, our away bowler from Concord, New Hampshire at Boutwell's Bowling Center, versus JJ Tourigny, the home bowler here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. John Alosa dropping 7 for his final box of the 5th game, which is the final game of this matchup today between our 2 bowlers. John Alosa dropped 7 and then dropped 1. 105 will be his final total for a 5-game total of 564 for John Alosa. JJ has his work cut out for him. He's sitting at a 4.5-game total of 494. 564 is the benchmark. 565 to take 4 points. And JJ really needs to take this 5th game to take more than 2 points. JJ's been having some considerable trouble today in terms of making things happen. All of his games have been over 100, but somewhat under average for today overall, and John Alosa just could not be caught because John Alosa's been very good at getting spares, following up on spares, and stringing spares together at the right time in addition to getting strikes on spares, or spares on strikes, or whatever order you please. Tourigny, lane 15 for the spare, and that's another spare for JJ Tourigny. That's an open 71 and 6. In the 6, compare that to John Alosa's close 50. He is doing a great job at trying to keep pace with John Alosa and outpace John Alosa. Remember, this is an important, big ticket title for the 5th game. Not only in terms of points for the game, but also points for the match, because the match total between our 2 bowlers is not insurmountable. In fact, JJ is closing that gap very fast. He fills that spare with 8. 79 and 6 for JJ Tourigny after 6. Definitely doing a great job right now. JJ, lane 15, Leda Lanes, Nashua, New Hampshire for the spare. For another spare. It's looking good. That's another spare. That's the 2nd spare in a row for JJ Tourigny in the 2nd half. The 4th spare for the match. He's at an open 89 and 7. I'm getting excited. Are you getting excited? Get excited. Currently sitting at 522 for a match total versus John Alosa's 564 for a match total. This is one of JJ's greatest strengths. He can really pile on the marks. Perhaps we just haven't seen that today evenly distributed, but JJ will fill that spare with 3. 92 and 7 for JJ Tourigny. Lane 15. Just a little off the pocket. Probably would have been a spare based on the way those pins flew backwards. That was a bit of a full shot, but didn't hit the object pin. 1 and 10. That'll be a 9 box for JJ, leaving only the head pin. 101 in 8 for JJ Tourigny. Seems pretty comfortable to say that he is likely really going to be taking the 5th game. The question is, will he take the match? 564 to 534 at the moment. He needs 31 pins to take that match total. This is must-see bowling here, folks. 2 divisional leaders. JJ drops 8. Needs a full shot or a really lofty kind of light ball that causes the 3 pin to dance around to take the 9 pin. JJ has dropped 8 and 9 in the 9th frame, that is. JJ tries the full shot attempt. Beans the 3 pin, but it doesn't take out the 9 pin quite in the manner that he was expecting. JJ now will take a 10 box. So 20 separates our bowlers in terms of the total. JJ needs a strike and then at least a 10 fill in some capacity. There are a couple ways this can be done, but this is crunch time. This is big. This is like the Seahawks at the 2-yard line. Check it out. JJ has a favorable 8 drop. Some wood that can't help him. He can attempt to play the wood or he can skip the wood, but the pins appear to be rolling away from what I can tell. This is lane 15 at Leda Lanes. For the spare, this is critical. That is a spare for JJ Tourigny. It's just what he needed. 121 for JJ. He's taken the 5th game, so that's another 2 points to add to the ledger for JJ, so he's got at least 4. But will he take another 4? That is the question. This is what happens when you have 2 divisional leaders face off against one each other. JJ's 5th and final ball on the head pin takes 6. I don't think that's going to be enough. It's 560, 4 points. 4 points was the difference between the match for our 2 bowlers. JJ's 5 games total is 560 versus John Alosa's 564. John Alosa just squeaks out the match lead by 4 to take the additional 4 pins. That is crazy. So John Alosa will jump to 76 and 50 from 66 and 46. JJ Tourigny will fall to 106 and 34 from 102 and 24. John Alosa will take 10 points for the day. JJ will take 4 points for the day. John Alosa with 2 strikes, 15 spares, 9 tens, a perfect box percentage of 52, while JJ had 0 strikes, 17 spares, 12 tens, and a perfect box percentage of 58. It has been a crazy match today. Our highlights have been it's really been a game of spares rather than strikes this match. And I gotta say, it's been an interesting setup here at Leda Lanes. I think it has to do with the temperature. Again, it's my ongoing theory across multiple live streams, where I really think the temperature of a house impacts the ability for the pins to fall and how hard or soft you should throw a ball. But anyways, that should about do it for us here at Leda Lanes. Your final score for the final time: John Alosa, our victor, with 10 points, 564 to JJ Tourigny's 560. JJ taking 4 points, so not leaving home empty-handed. Or not leaving Leda Lanes empty-handed. John Alosa, our away bowler, is triumphant. Anyways, that should about do it from us here at Leda Lanes. If you're new to the world of Candlepin bowling content, thanks for giving this content a try. And if you enjoyed what you saw, I invite you to strike, comment, and subscribe to the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour page on Facebook, as well as Alley Chat, Candlepin Corner, and Candlepin Bowling Network, where all kinds of other videos and streams are regularly posted in addition to results and statistics. If you are a returning viewer, it is great to have you along once again, and hope you enjoyed this program. If you are into podcasts, there's also Candlepin shows such as The Approach and Ripping the Rack, so check those out if you feel so inclined. I've been Steve Kelly, and I hope you have had a fantastic day. From Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, we will see you at the next Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour match. Have a great weekend, everybody.